What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in, man. Thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of the Sim Standard Podcast. Of course, I am SimFBallCritic, and I will be your solo host for just a moment. Smitty will be on a little bit later, running a little bit late, guys. So he said he'll probably be here around or by 8:30. So at that time, we'll bring Smitty on. So what I'll definitely do, guys, is give you the topics, let you know what to expect. I also will extend the invitation. If anybody wants to come on, if you have a question or if you have something you want to discuss or what have you, I'll offer you the invitation. This would be a great time to do it while we wait for Smitty. If not, you're welcome to come on a little bit later. So let me definitely let you guys know, especially with the comments, what the topics will be, and then maybe you guys, can decide whether or not you want to come on. So first thing, guys, if you look down in the description, basically the description will tell the story. It tells you exactly what we're going to talk about tonight, but I'll go through them like I normally do. So the first and foremost, man, we'll get some of the real world stuff out of the way. We want to discuss the Patriots privilege. And I will explain to you guys what I mean by that, when we get down to it. Also want to talk a little bit about the Cavs, man, in their trade situation. Look like they've done a lot here lately, here on the dead, before the deadline or what have you. So we'll definitely talk about that and see what we think in terms of what the trade means, for LeBron James's future, et cetera, et cetera. So then also, guys, in regards to gaming, we want to dive into sliders and difficulty. All right, now see Hollywood Sports in here. What's up, Hollywood? I know he saw this video as well. This topic is inspired by video I seen recently by the Czar. A lot of you guys may know him from way back in the day, Sim Nation. But more recently, he's now a developer at 2K. Does a great job on NBA 2K. Him along with OG Scott O'Gallagher, along with others. But basically, he did a stream, right? And he's talking about the sliders and how the sliders affect gameplay. But not only how it affects gameplay, he also talks about how the difficulty is affected. How it translates into difficulty. So we definitely want to dive into that. It's a lot of different facets, man, where we can go with that conversation, because I want to relate it into things that Madden would need to do with their sliders and how they need to explain them, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll hold that. Don't want to give it away too soon, but I got a lot stemming off of that video that Czar did in relationship to Madden. All right, so that's basically what we're going to talk about, man. Unless you guys got some other topics, like I said, hey, if you guys want to come on while we wait for Smitty, Smitty won't be on until about 8:30. He's running some errands with his wife. We all got a life, guys. I understand that, but he'll be on here shortly. So again, if any of you guys want to come on, the only thing I need from you is an email address. I'll shoot you an invite. You come on, and then we can chop it up about whatever it is you want to talk about, whether it's one of these topics or whatever the case may be. All right, so what I'll do real quick first, man, is I'll just give you my thoughts on the trade. Now, it's very interesting. I see DJ said they're basically just dropping dead weight. It's very interesting, man. If you dive deep into it, you notice that Dwayne Wade is sent back to Miami. Wade is on the record saying he would like to finish his career where he started in Miami, right? LeBron James come right out. These guys are like brothers. They're the best of friends. He comes right out and he tweets or is on Instagram, one of the two. I saw it on ESPN, but he basically says, hey, I'm so happy for him, my guy, et cetera, et cetera. I love you, my guy. So basically, I'm pretty sure LeBron knew what was about to happen. Perfect time to get him back, to Miami, just in case, and I don't know, this is me speculating, but just in case the Cavs don't do what they're expected to do this year, go ahead and get Wade back there where he wants to be, and we'll see what happens from there. So obviously, like I said, LeBron, I'm sure, knew about that. They probably discussed it being friends, and there you have it. But let's talk about the other side of things. Now, Isaiah Thomas, we were hearing that this guy hasn't been the best teammate while at Cleveland. Now, again, we're not there, so we don't really know exactly. But when you take a look at how this dude has been acting, even just watching his moves and the way he the things he's said after the losses, kind of questioning the coaching staff and, questioning what what the Cavs are doing and saying things like, if we don't make any changes, if we don't make any adjustments, et cetera, how are we going to expect anything to be different? All that type of stuff. Now, I get it, but at the end of the day, it's almost like this. And this is me from afar looking at it. I'm like, you the new guy. You can't come in here making demands and things like that. Now, I'm not saying that he doesn't have any cachet, so to speak. But what I'm saying is, it's kind of like you already know what it is. That's LeBron's team or what have you. And, you're not a veteran on the team. So, you got to kind of watch what you got to say. You got to kind of watch what you say in public. And I'm not disking. Can't talk tonight, guys, but I'm not dissing what Isaiah Thomas did. I'm not, questioning any of that. A man has his right to say what he wants to say. And at the same time, I respect a guy that's not afraid to speak his mind. But it did kind of come across like, you're questioning a lot of things and you're kind of the new guy. So you get that out of the way. So you ship him off to LA, right? Now let's look at it from the LA standpoint. Basically, what's happening here, if you ask me, if you chain all of the events together and the things that we've heard, the speculation and things like that we've heard over the last month or so, right? It's speculation that LeBron James and who was it, Dan Gilbert, I believe, the relationship has really, really gone, haywire. I don't think they've had a great relationship, ever since he said what he said the first time LeBron James left. And then outside of that, man, it's just, you can tell that there's some friction there. And if you ask me, it seems like LeBron James is on his way out the door. He's preparing himself to get up out of there. So it almost sounds like Cleveland is trying to, get themselves together and see how they're going to function without a LeBron James, because that's what it definitely appears to be. That's how it's coming across, how it's coming across to me. Now, if we talk about LA real quick, very interesting. It looks like LA is clearing some cap space. The talk is they might have the potential to bring in 2 big-time key, marquee free agents. They may be able to pay a couple max contracts. Now, we all know that Paul George has been very vocal about saying, he would love, to play in LA. We all know the linkage he has to LA. Now, not to say that he's not happy at OKC, but, come on, man, it's business. Some of these guys are going to do what they can do to make the best money. Paul George is really sort of a rental anyway. He's sort of a rental in OKC in this season anyway. So I can see him going there, right? So they got money for that. And then there's always the speculation, which it has been for the last year or so, that LeBron James might want to go out to LA. He has a house out there, et cetera, et cetera. And this makes a perfect storm, perfect situation for him to go to LA if he chose to. Now, me personally, I don't know if that's going to be the move. Maybe Magic Johnson and these guys know a little more than what we all know. But I will say this. Don't be surprised, man, if he doesn't end up somewhere like the Rockets. Because, again, another good friend of his, Chris Paul. Imagine Chris Paul, James Harden, and inserting LeBron James. If they can make that work, that'd be a very dangerous combination out west. So it just appears to me, man, that it's one or two things. It's hard for me to believe that what the Cavs are doing is trying to save the season, because they get a couple players. They get Rodney Hood, they get Jordan Clarkson, who I think has a bright future. They get what's my guy? Larry Nance. He has a bright future. Just looking at who else, who's the other player? I'm missing one guy, man. Jordan Clarkson. Oh, George Hill. So a veteran guy, shoot, he can shoot a little bit. And then they also, get a protected second round pick, I believe. So that was in the Wade deal. So it's like my man Kenya Wright said in here. What's up, Kenya, man? He said that they basically, preparing for life without LeBron James, which could very well be the case. All right, so once again, guys, let me just give you guys the skinny of what's going on here. Probably another 15 minutes or so. Smitty is running a little late, guys, doing some errands. He'll be on around 8:30-ish. Again, I extend the opportunity to any of you guys who are listening. If you want to come on, man, and give your comments, give your thoughts, or whatever it is you want to talk about, this would be a great time to do it. But if not, I'll just continue to ramble on, and I'll read your comments and see what you guys are saying, and we can kind of go back and forth with the comments until we can get the show kicked off. All right, so let me see what some of you guys are saying, man, while we wait for that. Antonio Wilson says a lot of crazy trades in the NBA, especially the Cavs. Absolutely. My guy Kenya says Thomas is a ball-dominant point guard who needs the ball. It was never going to work in Cleveland. I agree with that. And the Cavs were not giving him a max deal after this season. Definitely agree with that. And also, he's not the same after the hip surgery. True. So there you have it there. Philip Marcus says LeBron don't have many options to choose from. Frustrating part is that he knows no matter what team he goes, it won't be enough to beat Golden State. So it sucks for him. Rather he stays or goes. That's a good point as well. But you know what, man? I'm going to tell you something. Now, when you see teams lose, there he is again. Antoine Myers. Shout outs to Antoine, guys. Give him a big thumbs up. Give him a big shout out. Appreciate the donation, man. I really, really do. This guy has been donating. I swear, every time I stream, there's a donation popping up from Antoine Myers, man. Definitely appreciate you. Much love, much respect. You know how much I appreciate it, so it's not much more I can say. But let me say something real quick, man, about the Golden State Warriors. Now, it's kind of tough to make this assessment because I don't judge NBA teams on a like a game-to-game basis. I look at them and I look at what they have and I think about, okay, how would this translate in a 7-game series? So the question really becomes, can Golden State be beat for a 7-game series? I don't know. But I will say, man, the way the Houston Rockets are playing, the Houston Rockets have an opportunity to make some noise. I don't know if they can beat them again, 4 out of 7 games. OKC, maybe that gel starts to stick and they start clicking a lot better. You see PG put up crazy points the other night. Russell Westbrook is still being Russell Westbrook, which again, right at this moment, my favorite player in the NBA, because he reminds me so much of one of my all-time favorites, Allen Iverson, a bigger version, but I love that tenacity. I love that I don't give a attitude. I love that. Those type of dudes I'm always going to have a respect for. So Russell Westbrook is my guy right now. But you look at how they're playing. Let's say again, that starts to gel. You never know. I don't know if they can beat them 4 games, but again, you look at the team they had when KD was there. 2 superstars and some role players. They had Golden State 3-1. Now, obviously, you got to flip that script. Golden State adds Kevin Durant. So it's kind of like you take that dynamic out of it. But I'm saying, I think the Golden State Warriors can be beat. It's just, can teams beat them for, 4 out of 7? OKC is kind of built to do it, not player for player wise. But I mean, if you get the 3, big name guys going, and if you can get Steven Adams to continue to produce the way he has on the boards and scoring a little bit down low, getting guys in foul trouble, possible. But Warriors got Pachulia, which makes a difference. Your Draymond Greens of the world makes a difference. You know what I mean? Iggy with his defense. This is not even naming the top-notch guys. Clay is still going to be Clay. And then come on, KD and Curry. Just saying. But like I said, you never know. If you add LeBron to that, Philip, you never know. You never know what could happen. All right, so let's see what else are you guys saying. Marquis says Rockets can't do it. Got you. You might be right. But I'm just saying that all of it is a maybe, a what if, et cetera, et cetera. Now, keep in mind, guys, I have to say this. This is also a disclaimer. I know a lot of you guys come and watch, you know, whenever I stream for different reasons. Some of you guys come only for Sim Standard Podcast. Some of you guys only come for Terrible Towel Tuesday. And some of you guys only come for gaming. So, oh, I see my man AzureEffect's in here. I don't know what, my bad, man. I didn't even have the Hangout screen up, so I didn't even know he was in there. So I'm going to get AzureEffect up in here in just a second. But let me finish that last point. And glad Azure is here. The thing is, you guys have to respect what the stream is about. You know, I'm not going to talk about, you know, what I think about the Steelers coaching hires and stuff in this stream. This ain't the place for it. You know, even though you see the Steelers apparel and, you know, Steelers logo, but you got to respect the stream, man. It's like even when I'm doing gaming and I'm doing Battlefield or something and people want to talk about Madden, it's kind of like I have to respect why people are there. If that makes sense. And like most of the time when I'm doing Sim Standard Podcast, they want to hear myself, Azure and Smitty's, you know, opinions on these different topics. So kind of respect that a little bit, man. And, you know, I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything, but certain things I'm just not going to talk about here because this is not the place for it. But without further ado, man, let me bring my guy AzureEffect on, man. Glad to have him, man, tonight. I wish I would have seen him sooner, but obviously I was running my mouth. But AZ, man, come on in. I know you a basketball guy as well. So, you know, if you want to talk about the Cavs situation, feel free to do that, man. What you think about all these trades going on, man?
Oh, man, it's crazy. I mean, what does the NBA come to, you know? To a point to where they just basically just flip-flop and trade assets how they please. LeBron's playing GM, or maybe he's not. I don't know. But the moves they're being made, it seems like they just tried to get younger and faster, which they'll probably need, you know, to beat Boston and to beat the Raptors. But the key piece to that is you still have LeBron James. So,
Right.
but I mean, doing it right before the deadline, and now you have to gel before playoff time. I mean, if you think about it, just because this ain't a video game, just because you put players together doesn't mean they necessarily those pieces fit. You have to get used to how people play styles, tendencies, and all that. But it helps that you have the greatest basketball player walking right now in LeBron James. And that, you know, people can say that arguably, but to me, he's the most complete player. He can play 1 through 5 if you need him to. Can guard 1 through 5 on any given night, and does so much, you know, for his team on the floor, man. It's just, I mean, think about it. He leaves Cleveland. They get the worst record. They pick up Kyrie Irving, and the Heat go to the finals. He leaves the Heat. They become a worse team. Cleveland goes back to the finals. So, I mean, you know, he's been to what, 8 straight? Something like that?
7 or 8.
7 or 8 NBA finals. So there's no way we can talk about Tom Brady and his greatness of, he's been to 8 straight AFC championships. Not mention LeBron James going to 8 straight finals and how great that is and what an accomplishment it is. So when people want to talk about his record and all that, well, Tom Brady's record is starting to come back down to earth too. He's 5-3 now. So if LeBron was 5-3 in the finals, people say, "Oh, he's not Michael Jordan." Well, we could say the same thing about Tom Brady, but no, man, it's just crazy, man. The world, I can't believe, you know, Dwayne Wade was part of that, and what lets me know that it was kind of maybe LeBron is that he went back to the Heat, and that's probably where he wanted to go. You know, if he was going to be traded anywhere, he probably wanted to go back to where he was, Dade County, and probably retire there, and be a loved man in Miami for what he did for that city, that franchise. Excuse me, sinus is acting up. But It's crazy, man. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out in the end, but the Warriors are the team to beat. So I mean, if these, like you said, the moves that are being made to beat them, I don't know. I don't think it's enough. I mean, just think about what we saw from them last year in the finals, and Kevin Durant and how well he played, coming off injury. And then, I mean, I don't know. But like you were saying, I came in on the tail end of it. The Thunder, man. The Thunder are I like how Russell, like you said, Russell is my guy too, man. I like his recklessness is a positive and a negative. Um, sometimes he get you those turnovers and those plays like you shouldn't have done that. But at other times, he's a triple double machine. So I don't know, man. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, I don't like it. I don't like all the trades and stuff. But if it works out and we get a more competitive playoffs, then I'm for it. So, we'll see how it pans out in a couple months.
Yeah, it's very interesting, man. And we could actually transition into the next topic since you brought up Tom Brady. I want to definitely cover that, man. And we could talk about the Super Bowl a little bit, but what I wanted to talk about as well is the Patriots privilege. And I'm going to explain that because I know I ain't doing nothing but giving AZ an alley-oop on this one, but just the Super Bowl, I'm going to be really brief with that, man. Then I'll go into the privileges, then I'll throw it to AZ. And also, let me give you guys an update. I don't even know how I forgot this topic. And I'm doing a little bit of what they accuse YouTubers of doing, AZ. I'm changing the title here. Maybe it'll be a little clickbaitish. But
yeah, that's all right.
I want to talk about the XFL and the possibility of 2K making a game through the XFL. I got to give a shout out to my man, Sports Gamers Online, who made a video about that today. I'll link it in the description, but he makes an interesting, connection. So we're going to definitely discuss that, but that'll be a little bit later. But man, the Super Bowl, only question I had, man, where was the defense? I mean, man, AZ, man, like on Terrible Towel, I talked about, man, I kind of, I didn't try to make Steeler fans be at ease, but I kind of was like, look, I don't know if we can blame it on the coordinator anymore, because if we look at these playoffs, you had a team in Jacksonville that got 42 hung on them, even though we lost the game. One of the best defenses in the league, probably the best cornerback tandem. Okay, then you get the Minnesota Vikings, who get thumped by the same Eagles and Nick Foles. Number one defense. You get the Patriots defense, which I've been saying for years. Well, this year at least. I've been saying all season they're not that good. They kind of remind you of what the Steelers were a couple years ago when we were the bend or break defense. That was the Patriots. Got exposed in the Super Bowl. And then you get the Eagles that also have a tough defense, top 5, I believe. And they get scored on like crazy. So it's almost like this league, man, I don't know what it is. I mean, maybe the offenses, well, ain't no maybe to it because we know the defense is handicapped, but the offenses are just overly powerful, man. And that's the first thing I noticed. But let me just fast forward to all of that, be brief with it. Excellent coaching by Doug Peterson, if you ask me. Belichick always gets all the praise. Oh, he's the best coach. And he is a good coach. He's a great coach. His scheme seems to work, and you can't take away what Belichick and Brady has done, regardless of how you feel about the Patriots. But Doug Peterson, how many fourth downs this man go for? And then to find out, in case you guys didn't see, on NFL, Inside the NFL, your boy Nick Foles called that trick play on the 4th and 1. It's a clip, guys. If you haven't seen it, I'll give you the skinny. They say they're going to go for it, right? Nick Foles comes over to Doug Peterson and say, what about Philly? Doug Peterson looks up at him, gives him like a stare, maybe about 5 seconds, and was like, okay, let's do that. I mean, if you haven't seen it, you got to see it because the visual effect to it, like how he looked up at him and locked eyes with him, like, damn, that's a good call. Let's do it. Go out there. And the beauty of the design of that play, how Nick Foles fakes like he's doing an audible, goes, stands up there by the tackle, and then y'all know the rest is history. They scored a touchdown to go into the half. Outstanding. But you got to give credit to Doug Peterson, man. I think it was a very, very great coached game. All of the chances he took on third downs and fourth downs. And there you have it. You know, the big bad Belichick Brady machine went down. So that's my quick thoughts on the Super Bowl. It was very entertaining, but me being a defensive guy, I wanted to see some defense. But anyway, let's move on to the privilege. This is what I don't understand about the Patriots, AZ, and the rest of you guys listening. Here's the thing. The Patriots get away with stuff that nobody else can. No other coaches, really. No other organization. And I could be exaggerating, but follow what I'm saying here. So, this guy, Josh McDaniels. Now, listen, I don't count nobody's money, and I'm not the type of man that judges another man's decisions. I just give my thoughts based on what they share in the public. That's it. That's as far as I'm going to go with it. I'm not going to judge what he did. Had there been any other coach on any other staff, crucified. Now, don't get me wrong. Josh McDaniels, you know, he took a little heat from it, but it's kind of swept under the rug now. That would have been so much worse in any other organization. Hell, if it was the Steelers, I already know what they would have said. See, Mike Tomlin, and now he's shady, and he doesn't have any control, even though if the coach was coming back to stay with him, they still would have had blamed, you know, oh, that's Mike Tomlin's doing. That's kind of ironic how they can do stuff like that. But let's talk about the biggest situation, though, AZ. And this has been bothering me, man. And I'm glad, you know, I don't always agree with everything Stephen A. Smith says because, you know, to be honest, part of what Stephen A. Smith does, that's his character. You know, that's his character as far as the TV guy. I don't know him personally, but let's be real. Some of that stuff we see him do, it's done, you know, it's basically designed to be that way, if you understand what I'm saying. So I get it. But the Malcolm Butler situation, why is it that Bill Belichick doesn't have to give any kind of explanation and people just let it slide? I don't get it, folks. Now, again, I don't think that we are privy to the information or that they owe us anything. Listen, I'm just a fan of football, and I'm just an ordinary guy. But to me, it's mighty strange that Malcolm Butler is told that he's not going to play during the national anthem, right? And then as soon as they lose, right after that, the news starts coming out that he may have had some behavioral issues or some team violations, even some weed or whatever. But why is that now? Why didn't we hear anything about that until after the fact? It just seemed a little crazy to me. And like I said, Bill Belichick can do this. You know, the Patriots can do anything, and it's no big deal. You know what I'm saying? We've seen them. Listen, I'm not trying to bash the Patriots. I'm just saying, think about historically all of the stuff they've been a part of and have gotten away with, and it just vanishes. Why is that? I just need to know, man. I don't like the way this Malcolm Butler situation was handled. Because listen, if it has something, and listen, I'm a man just like everybody else, and I think Azure will understand where I'm going with this one. To see that man crying on the sideline, that I don't think that was for. Now it could be, but I don't think that was necessarily something that he saw coming. If you know what I'm saying. If I know I'm violating, right? I'm doing wrong stuff. I'm showing up late. Y'all might have caught me with some weed, whatever. I ain't gonna take it as hard. I'm gonna be upset with myself. But my emotions probably ain't going to kick in because I already know what it is. To me, them emotions kick in when this hits you kind of blindside. And at the end of the day, if it was for a violation, this is the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'll throw it to AZ. If it was for some type of violation or misbehavior, what have you, why am I just being told about it as I'm listening to the national anthem? Come on, man. Something ain't right about that. But like I said, Patriots Privilege, it ain't even really going to be talked about that much after probably the rest of this week. You know, after tomorrow, whatever it's it. Just saying, man. But AZ, what's your thoughts, man, on how the Super Bowl played out and how Big Bill was able to just, you know, this little privilege it seemed like the Patriots be having, man. I don't like it.
First of all, I was ecstatic about the outcome of the Super Bowl. Just how it played out. I thought, you know, Brady, I mean, he had a chance to do it, come back at the end and pull it out. But we knew, well, at least I knew, that a sack or a fumble was coming. And it took a while to get there.
Yeah.
But they finally got it when they needed it. And just to see him sitting on the ground like he did the last time they lost in the Super Bowl, it felt good. I'm not going to lie. I think about it. In sports, this is how it is. Because the only time I rooted for the Patriots is when they played the Rams. And the only reason I rooted for them is because the Rams beat us the Super Bowl prior, which everybody knows about the 1 yard, blah, blah, blah. Titans lost. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, I was rooting for the Patriots to beat the Rams, and they did. That's the only time that I've really rooted for the Patriots. They are the villain in the NFL. And I think it's because of how they operate, how they do things, how the league treats them. Like you've been saying, to me, the Titans should have beat the Patriots, honestly. The thing about football is the game changes on penalties and field position and can swing momentum very fast. So I'm going to walk you back through the Titans game. The Titans get the ball and go down and score, and the Patriots are losing 7-0. And I think at that point in time, I don't know, it might have been 14-7 Patriots or either 7-7. But they were in their own territory about to punt the ball, and the refs called an illegal penalty. Something that I forgot what it was called, but it was some penalty that shouldn't have been called. Gave them a first down. They went down and scored again. And I think at that point they went up 21-7. You're talking about a 14-point swing from the referees. Gronkowski pushes off the entire game. Our receiver pushes off once and is called for offensive pass interference on what would have been a first down catch. It turned into third down, which turned into a punt. I mean, it's just little stuff like that just irks me about the Patriots and how the league treats them. You know, I have my own conspiracy theories about how all this stuff is fixed for money anyway, because it's too much money involved. Too much money changes hands for it not to be some kind of, you know, fix in. And the people can say, oh, no, ain't no way you can throw a game. If you've played sports, there's a way that you can take plays off, not execute the way you're supposed to. You know, what was Charlie Hustle? What's his name? Pete Rose.
Oh yeah,
Pete Rose didn't throw games and bet on them. So I mean, hey, it can happen in sports, but that's neither here nor there. But the privilege is real with the Patriots, and you see it every time a team plays them. I felt like Jacksonville. They should have lost to Jacksonville. First of all, should have lost to us. But you know, honestly, they were a better team. I'm not saying we were a better team than them, but I was saying that I felt like we could have beat them. So I'm not saying that the Titans were a better team. Jacksonville could have and should have beat them, and they won again. So I felt like they shouldn't even been in the Super Bowl, honestly. But to me, the league likes to push narratives. And that narrative is Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. And this, you know, machine of Belichick and Brady rolls on. And that's the storyline that they want to push to us. You know, they want to keep it going as long as they can. It makes money for them. Because people want to tune in to see either the best team or a well-known team and see if they can keep streaks going, all that kind of stuff. So that's what happens, and to me, that's what happened. But I don't know, man. The NFL is starting to get on my bad side. And I did mention that, although I didn't make a video about it, but I said about which we'll talk about later, the XFL and 2K being able to make a game, since the 2K is already in the bed with WWE.
Mm-hmm.
That would be easy talks. So just to touch on that, just in case I'm not around for it, but because I got my kids over here. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to the next football season. We'll see how it plays out. But to me, the game, it should always be about the game, not the refs or agendas or anything like that. That's why, some of the best, if you ask some of the NFL players, what's your fondest time of playing football, they'll say high school. They won't say now, because of all the stuff that happens, college and boosters and all the corrupt things that happen in sports after high school. And you have some corrupt high schools too, because my wife's cousin, they offered that man's family a house in the district for him just to go play at that school at the time. So, I mean, I know situations like that. So it can be even corrupt in high school, but I'm just tired of the corruptness of sports, man, and money exchanging hands and all that. The thing about sports is that we love is the competition. Seeing the underdog rise up and not be affected by agendas. And it's always an agenda with the Patriots, no matter how it is. So, like you said, for them to have that many Spygate, Deflategate, what else?
Yeah, I mean, games with no one less than what? One penalty? One
penalty. Do you remember when it was reported they messed with other teams' headsets?
Yeah, they did that to us.
I mean, think about it. It's just the list goes on, and this team is still successful. And it's like LaDainian Tomlinson said when he was playing, the Patriot way is if you ain't cheating, if you ain't trying unless you're cheating, or if you ain't cheating unless you're trying, whatever. If you ain't trying, you ain't cheating. Well, I don't know. I mixed it up, but you know what I'm talking about. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I think that's what it is. And he said that was the Patriot way. And just to touch on it, because I don't want to take up too much time.
No, go ahead.
Josh McDaniels thing is just crazy. Like, they were about to have a press conference for you Wednesday, and you back out of a job. Now, I don't know if he had a staff or anybody he talked to, but just think about the predicament that puts people in. If you was like, yo, I'm going to take this Indianapolis coach job, man. Will you come coach with me? Yeah, man, I'll come coach with you. All right, such and such. After the Super Bowl, I'll hit you up and we'll get this thing done. Then you hear in the news, he ain't taking the job. I've already quit my job. So now I got to go look for work. So, I mean, I don't know if he put a staff together or even called guys and considered guys, but if they were counting on him to do that and he backed out, that's crazy. And the funny thing about it is Bill Belichick did the same thing to the Jets. He was hired as the Jets coach and quit the day after.
Yep.
So
that's the Patriot way.
Just I don't know if he's promised, hey, when Bill steps down, it can be yours. Or, I mean, I heard they sweetened the deal for him, but come on, bro. You was about to be a head coach.
Yeah.
Again, to show your worth. And now you kind of have a stink about you around the league as somebody who can't be trusted. He's like the NFL's version of Lane Kiffin. You know what I mean? Like, Lane Kiffin was that guy that was seen as an up-and-comer. He got a head coaching job with the Raiders. Rubbed people the wrong way. Now he's in college. He skipped around colleges, went to UT, got fired from USC. Now he's at Florida International. He went to Alabama, was the offensive coordinator there under Nick Saban. Now he's in Florida International. And I feel like Josh McDaniels is viewed the exact same way in the NFL, especially after this. I think because people are saying that he's grown as a person since the Broncos job. But moves like this shows immaturity. You know what I mean? Like, your word is all you have. And if you gave the Colts your word and you backed out, no matter the circumstance, that just looks very bad. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, that's like me telling Sim, man, after this, man, we going EA. I got a spot for you. I'm gonna be the creative director. So you pack up your stuff, you get your wife, kid, move down here, and then Sim hears on the news as he's on his way to Orlando.
I'm in the airport.
I turned down the job. And Sim, you know how many Sim don't even cuss that much, but you know how many MFs and Fs and Bs and would be dropped. Sim would be hot as hell. He would be looking for me. Like, y'all want to make Sim mad. Sim is a nice dude on the surface, but don't make that dude mad. I'm telling you. He will pit bull on you, pit bull / bulldog on you. So, I mean, maybe that's not the thing with Josh McDaniels, but still, that was just, when I heard it, I had to laugh because it was funny because it's the Colts and I'm a Titans fan. So I kind of laughed.
Oh, yeah.
And it was funny because that was my choice of coach, honestly, for the offense that he runs. I felt like he was a perfect fit for Mariota. But, I mean, I'm happy with Vrabel, you know, and the staff that he's put together. And an interesting dynamic, just to talk Titans right quick, and it's funny. We interviewed Matt LaFleur for the head coaching position and Vrabel. And Vrabel is the head coach, and LaFleur is now the offensive coordinator. That's just interesting to me because that's like me going in, you know, for a top job, and then instead somebody that I interview with, I'm now under him. So I don't know, man. It's an interesting dynamic to me. We'll see how it plays out, but I guess the ability to call plays this year, since Sean McVay called plays and for the Rams last year, was probably a good look for him, and he doesn't have to have the pressure of being the head coach. And I guess he figures, hey, if he messes up, I might be in line still, since I already interviewed. So it might have been a smart move. It's just interesting to me. It's like if you walk into an interview with a guy, yeah, man, you know, nice to meet you. We interviewing for the same spot, and then come to find out, he's your boss now. So I don't know.
What'd you think about the Butler situation, real quick?
Interesting, man. I hope there's two sides to every story.
Right.
And one of those sides is right. Now, honestly, people are higher on Butler than I am. Like, if you go back and watch the Titans game, Butler was getting torched by Decker and Corey Davis.
He was.
So I'm not sure if, you know, having him out there really would have made a difference, honestly. But the fact that, you know, it's kind of like he got benched and he was a free agent, it seems like a Patriot way type of thing of, okay, we're going to bench you, decrease your value. Because let's just say he got a pick in the Super Bowl. The last time we saw him in the Super Bowl and he got a pick, he got MVP. Or no, did Brady get MVP? No, Brady got MVP, but he said that Butler should have got it. Either way, he would have made a lot of money, you know, going into next year. Mm-hmm. But as it stands now, he's the bench former Patriot. So I don't know, man. Like I said, it's two sides to every story, and one of those stories is right. And only him and God knows what really happened. But it's just, it's not a good look from an organization to put it out there if it's false. that some of the things they were accusing him of. So
yeah, the timeline just don't match up, man. But I don't know. Kind of crazy.
And nobody has video of it. Like nobody saw him. No, I mean, I understand he's kind of inconspicuous, but you would probably know, if you saw Malcolm Butler. So I don't know. It's funny.
Kind of crazy. So what we'll do here, guys, is we're gonna take a turn, man. We're gonna throw an audible because for 48 minutes, you guys have heard us talk about things other than gaming. But I do want to bring it back if we have time, because I'm gonna try my best to keep it, up and get us to close out at 10. Try to stay on the schedule. But what we'll basically do now is we'll switch gears a little bit, dive into the gaming stuff, and I'm gonna throw it to Smitty to kick off the topics. Now that we have Smitty here, welcome Smitty. And let's go with the first one, man. And again, I threw a curveball in the stream here, Smitty, because I had forgot about this topic until I saw my man SGO's tweet. So we're going to talk about the possibility of 2K doing an XFL 2020. And then after that, after we circle through that, we'll come back and talk about the sliders, the difficulty thing that we saw with Czar stream. And then, like I said, if we have a little time after that, I'll definitely get your thoughts on the Cleveland trade and stuff like that. So hopefully we'll get back to it. But first and foremost, Smitty, let me set the stage a little bit, man. What SGO was saying made a lot of sense in his video. He dropped the video earlier today. And guys, I'll find it and put it in the description and also throw it here in the comments. But basically, in a nutshell, what he said was, obviously, we know who owns the XFL. Obviously, 2K has a WWE, correlation right there. So he was saying, hey, this could be a situation where we could possibly see a game. And he actually said, I didn't read the article, but he said that when they did like the presser for the XFL, they were saying they mentioned some things about gaming. So that's kind of what, tipped him to do a video about it. I'll give my real quick take on it because I want to give you and AZ most of the time on this. But I kind of echo what NYK is saying here. My quick point, piece on it is, and I try to tell people this all the time, Smitty, and I know you're right there on the same page. For one, our crowd, again, is very small in terms of numbers. Madden is doing a pretty good job this year with sales, so obviously they're going to sell without the hardcore sim guys being satisfied. And I'm just saying that to preference where I'm about to go. I don't know if an XFL would survive, man. I mean, I just don't. I don't know if a video game would be worth the investment until 2K is able to see if they have the audience. Because think about it. Madden is popping. We want it to be better, but globally, it's popping. This huge relationship with ESPN and all this other jazz, the MUT stuff and all of that. So I guess what I'm saying is we have to stop looking at it as just gamers that want the best game. Obviously, that's our motivation. But from a business standpoint, do you think 2K thinks that the XFL product would sell? Like, would they be willing to take a leap of faith? I don't know, man. I don't know. So I don't know if that's going to happen. It would be great, but from a business standpoint, I think you wait and see how the XFL does in general as popularity. Then if it grows, then you introduce your game. But what's your thoughts on that, Smitty, man? Is it a possibility, you think? Or, what would you think? How would that work out for 2K if they decided to do something like that?
Well, the only way that it would work for 2K, especially if they just came out the box with it, is that basically it would have to be everything that APF was not. Because you're playing with a bunch of it's going to be basically either past or guys that got cut or didn't make the cut in the NFL that are going to be playing in this league. Secondly, this is like a secondary Damon Groh-esque kind of attempt at making a makeshift football game that's on a professional level somewhat. the main point, like what Kia said, is this game actually going to sustain a few seasons? There's no point in just saying, let's just drop a game for the sake of dropping a game. It's not, you know, and on top of that as well, this is the other part about it as well. You're talking about at least, what, another 2 Madden titles dropping out before these guys would even potentially have 1 title. So possibly 3 Madden titles before you see these dudes have 1. Don't do that. But it's not going. It's going to be very, very small potatoes. They're not gonna bring something that's just going to be this riveting title off top, and it's going to do anything to Madden at all. Like, regardless of what they do, because at the end of the day, like we said the other week, look at how much Madden has spanned across the NFL landscape now. You know what I'm saying? ESPN, esports, they're on Disney and all that stuff. ESPN3 and all that jazz. They're too far spread. They're in there. So if somebody else thinks at any point in time they're going to really get involved, they can get involved, but they're not going to make that kind of impact that somebody would think, like, yo, if 2K put their name on it, people going to be all over it. And see, that's what people are banking on. Just because of the 2K name, it automatically is going to be hot. You know what I'm saying? It'll be something people will play probably, but that'll be the long and the short of it. So that's pretty much all I got. It just be a makeshift game. It'll probably be a game like NFL Extreme or whatever. It'll be a game that'll mimic something that's hot for the moment, like Arena League. When Kurt Warner was the hotness and everything, and he was blown up in the NFL, and he had that Arena League background. You've seen him all of a sudden come out with these AFL kind of games, and you saw how quickly that fizzle just faded straight out. How it fizzled for a moment and went flat just like that. XFL pretty much would be the exact same thing. The only thing that would really sustain that game, like I said, is just the 2K moniker. That would pretty much be it. So, but throw it back to you, man.
Yeah, real quick, man. And the AZ, come in right after me, man. But I just wanted to address a couple comments. I see Sick With It says, I bet it sells better than live. And Q Marley, I guess I'm saying that right. I don't know. Could be wrong. My bad if I got it wrong, man. But he says if YouTube gets behind it, it will catch on. Here's the thing, man. We got to look at reality. What difference does it make about live? That has nothing to do with anything about selling better than live. You got to look at it globally. You have to look at it from a global standpoint. It ain't about that. It's not about what we want, like us and the 60 people who are here, 63, including us 3 right now. It ain't about us, our hardcoreness and what we want. Obviously, right. We are not the majority when it comes to the dollars. Ain't got nothing to do with that. Like, it outselling live. Who cares about that? That's irrelevant. And then the YouTube aspect. Okay, as far as YouTube, the biggest YouTubers, way bigger than any of us here, what are they playing? Look how big, like, a lot of the YouTubers are with Madden. Guys like what's his name? TD Barrett. Guys like, come on, man. So what I'm saying is, do you think the YouTubers are gonna rip? The big YouTubers don't care about all that stuff that we care about. You feel me? The mutt and all of that is what they do. It's gonna take more than Sim and Smitty and Azure and, you know, the Ryan Moody's of the world, and, you know, it's gonna take more than that. You understand what I'm saying? Look what we did with Backbreaker and Apex, and, you know, I'm naming everybody just to show you that I respect everybody that at one time was really doing their thing. The Brozels of the world, all of these different guys. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? That YouTube thing, we don't have that sector. Or if we did, I would be at 100,000 subs, and Smitty would be at 100,000, and Azure and the NY Kias of the world. you know, and Lex, guys like all of us would be at 100, 200,000 subscribers. We're not.
We don't have the juice of Chris London.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, my man, they paid for him to go to the Super Bowl. Him and Cash Nance, you know, they were in the tweeting, "Mad EA, we want you to film this stuff so we can upload it to our account and put it out there." From the Super Bowl and all that. Yeah. You ain't got that juice, man. They're not gonna back that like that. So that's the reality of the whole YouTube crowd of it. It's nope. Not gonna do that.
That ain't gonna work. What you think, AZ? What's the? I kind of know where you're going with it, man. We know each other so well, but
yeah, well, like Smitty said, first the league would have to be somewhat of a success. And if I'm the XFL, I would plan to start the week after the Super Bowl, honestly, because there's still a hunger there for football. Let's think about this. Next Sunday, or this Sunday rather, there will be no football on TV. And if it is, it won't be anything that you really feel like watching. So, I mean, we're at that point now to where it gets a dead period, but I would go from the Super Bowl or the week after the Super Bowl till about June if I was XFL, because you only have 8 teams, no need to be that long of a season. And you're ending around the NFL starting up again, so you don't really have to compete with them. Of course, the on-the-field product would matter. It's like, how would you make yourself different from the NFL? We saw what they did in the past, and hopefully they learn from their mistakes on what did and did not work. Most of what people took from XFL was like, he hate me. Rod Smart, who eventually became an NFL player.
I remember that guy.
You're right. So, I mean, he was the star of that league. So, I mean, there is room, to do some creative things like that. But you just have to be smart about how you approach it. But to me, if they try to go season or seasonally with the NFL, it's a failure. You're not going to get anything. But to me, if you start the week after the Super Bowl or somewhere close, you still have people's appetite for football. Because I don't know about you, but I could watch some more football on TV. Especially if it went from February to June or whatever. So they have to deal with that. And as far as a game goes, we know that they are in bed. WWE and XFL, we know who owns it, and they're in bed together with having a wrestling game. But as far as that being successful, it would take a couple years, like Smitty said. And it's not guaranteed that it would be great after those couple years. Now, true enough, I'm pretty sure they have the technology laying around from All Pro Football 2K8, so they wouldn't be starting from scratch, I don't think. And if they did, that would be a mistake in my mind. But, maybe they would want to do that. But
good point. have they moved on from that though? Like as far as their NBA 2K technology?
Right. True. And I'm pretty sure that whatever they're doing with NBA could be translated. To me, they do a lot of stuff with details right. Yes. So I would love to see them put out a game. Just for the simple fact that it would be another company. And it's a company that's reputable in that they made 2K5. They made 2K8. And all these people out here in the community talk about, it'd be better than this, better than that. Shut up. You didn't play All Pro Football 2K.
Exactly. Thank you.
Me,
say it again.
After the fact. When I saw All Pro Football 2K commercials, I was like, look at this trash. Why are they putting Jerry Rice and Rakim in a commercial, man?
Oh, man.
How they marketed it was just all wrong. And I didn't know about that game until after the fact. I tell this story all the time. the first person I saw on YouTube playing all pro football is none other than your boy sitting right in front of you, SimFBallCritic. And he showed the beauty of that game. I said, I have got to find me a GameStop, and I'm going to get it. And furthermore, in YouTube history lore, the first time going back to NFL 2K, you want to know the person's video I found, a tutorial how to do it? The other person sitting right in front of you. Did it. And that's how I met these dudes. Like, searching for simulation football. So, I mean, they could put out a game, and I would definitely support it. We supported Backbreaker. We supported All Pro Football. So I would definitely support XFL and whatever it brought to the table. But to think that it would dethrone Madden is a far-fetched dream. I mean, to me, 2K had an opportunity. They had a window to do, to me, an unlicensed, not unlicensed, well, it would be unlicensed, but a customizable game that we could have taken and run with. Because think about this. What if, the creativity that the community showed with Backbreaker. If you had that kind of customization and you put it in All Pro Football 2K. Because, I mean, as it was, they did have creativity in it, but, some of the logos look kind of crazy. And it just, I don't know. It wasn't fully customizable like it was in Backbreaker. Like, you had graphic artists making stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm nowhere near a graphic artist, and I was making great logos, stuff that looked good, and I was like, oh, man, I spend most of my time playing around in the logo creator. So, the community will support that type of stuff, and that, to me, that's where it's headed, is how accessible is your game. Now, to Madden's downfall, and I know that let's just say they keep the train rolling, and a game does come out in 3 years from XFL. People are still and will always be unhappy with Madden. And Madden 19, in my opinion, because I'm just tired of waiting and being strung along, in my opinion, is the last hope for CFM. Because they're going into esports. MUT is humongous and only getting bigger as esports continues to grow for them. And it's like CFM is becoming an afterthought of such. So with Madden 19, the effort that I see will tell me what they want to do with that mode in the future. And just like I said in the beginning with Long Shot, I have not touched Long Shot again. I played it the first time, and it is dead to me. I accidentally hit it in the menu, and I was like, oh, dang. I was trying to get the franchise, and I accidentally hit Long Shot, and then, it loads up. It's like continue story. I'll be hitting circles so fast. I'm like, back the heck out of this.
Now, that part is dope. How it don't have no loading screen.
Yeah.
You need to find a way to do that in every mode.
So I'll be trying to back out of that joint. But that's exactly what I said. Where's the longevity of that mode? You know what I mean? Like, if they're supposed to continue it into 19, to me, that's wasted resources if you don't find a way to roll it into CFM, or I don't know. It's got to be done to where you can just keep playing and keep going, and it's longer than what it is. I mean, the story was good. I liked the experience, but like I said, once it was done, I was done with it. Like, it was no need to keep playing it. Even with them putting, like, you can continue the story if you create a player. You can use their faces, like you can be Colt or Devin. I didn't really care about that. You know what I mean?
Like, it wouldn't even have happened without. I'll take a little credit for it. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Because that wasn't going to happen, folks.
See, so stuff like that. Like every time I get the closest man tackle, I'll be like, thanks, Sim. Clicking in that right analog, so he go attack the quarterback. I'll be like, appreciate it. Yeah, but it's little stuff, man. But Madden 19 will tell me where they're trying to go. But I would most definitely buy an XFL game.
Yeah.
Even if it didn't sell anything but 3 copies, me, Sim, and Smitty, you can guarantee those copies will be sold. We'll see. But the league has to survive first, and I hope they do. But like I said, it's all about timing, and they cannot, just like the game should, not try to be Madden. The XFL should not try to be the NFL. Do something different. Do something that sets you apart, but not too crazy that's going to get your players killed, like no fair catching and all that kind of crazy mess they did last time.
It's interesting, man, because I got to say this. Some of the guys in here in the chat, man, if I ever start a company, y'all the first ones I'm coming for, because y'all's optimism, boy, I have to applaud you for it. But you have to think about it from this standpoint, man. AZ said one very key thing. Esports. Esports is what will keep Madden on top. Because people love the NFL, man. Everybody wants to represent their team. Look, what else did AZ say? Look what we did with Backbreaker. I can't even count. Let me see. I could probably count on with 10 fingers how many times I played that game with regular team. I mean, once we was able to customize it, that was it. We was about building what we perceived to be our team. And that's the reason why Madden is always going to be king unless there's another NFL game. And even if another company made an NFL game, I would go as far as saying this. Still would take them a few years to even compete with Madden from a global standpoint. We're not just talking about the game and the gameplay. Because remember, guys, those of us who are drawn to the gameplay is a very small piece of the pie. All of us here, I'm sure, would play and buy the XFL game. Y'all would see me making videos about it, all this stuff. But come on, man. I'll tell you what it will do, though. And I bet you y'all ain't going to like this. Matter of fact, let me take off the glasses so y'all can see my eyes. Y'all ain't going to like this one, but you know what it's going to do? It's going to make Madden a better game. That's what would happen. Because the XFL game come out and it's got all this phenomenal stuff. Guess what's going to happen? Now that might work for us. The suit's going to be like, whoa, what's that? No, we got to get that because we're losing money or whatever the case. That's all it would do. But as soon as Madden got better, then bye-bye XFL again. So then we would still be left with one game. So you got to start looking at it, guys, from a business standpoint, not just what we want. What we're arguing here or debating here is whether or not we think it would survive. And I think all of us said the same thing. It'll only survive, man, if the league itself survives. Let the league get popular. Then you roll out a game. I would not suggest coming in the door, kicking the door in 2020 when that league is rolling out with a game. Nah, B.
Unless I will say this, unless they start working on it now.
Right.
How the league is in development, if they have something that, prototype wise that they can hit the ground running with, that is not just a rush out just to get something out, then, I say do it like that. But like you said, if it's just going to come out because the league is out, don't even put it out. It's going to be a waste of time.
There it is, man.
But something I want to add on to that, though, is the whole esports thing. This is the thing. Okay, Madden, yes, competition helps, no doubt. But at the same time, just the mere fact that they're in the esports, they're trying to really make an impact in the esports arena. Mm-hmm. That's going to make the game have to get better in its own right.
Yep.
Because, okay, look, They just made the announcement, like I think it was yesterday or something like that, or earlier on today, about the fighting games that are going to be in the Evo tournament, which is one of the biggest fighting tournaments out there for fighting games. And Marvel versus Capcom would always be in it. It ain't there. You don't know why it ain't there? Because the quality of the title fell off. And see, the thing is, when you burst into a scene, that's one thing. But when your longevity slips and slips and slips, they're going to be like, yo, these cats ain't cutting it. They could do their own esports thing, but it's not going to be in the realm of all these other titles. Madden wants to be in that upper echelon because that's where all the money at. That's where you got these games selling out stadiums and stuff like that for their title and all that stuff. They definitely want to be on that level. In order to get to that level, you have to have a game that is on that level as well. Now, I don't know with FIFA, I don't know how much money they give out for their tournaments and everything. But I'm saying, though, if it's more than Madden, you can see why. We all see the caliber of the product. But the point is, if Madden wants to be on that level, you're going to have to make the game on that level of competition. Mm-hmm. And to another point somebody had made in here about UFC, like we said it the other week and the weeks before, phenomenal. I want the game to be that hard. But the thing is, you see people on reviews and chats and all that stuff, and they complaining about the game. They complaining about legitimate real life aspects of MMA that are happening in this game, and they're complaining about it like it's a problem. Doesn't that sound eerily familiar to what happens with Madden when Rex and these guys just try to start implementing some of this stuff?
Yeah, but until they cave in and nerf the joint.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's part of the problem. But see, that's something that they're gonna have to say. They're gonna have to go ahead and just make the game, and it's gonna have to just stay that way, regardless of people complaining. That's the big hurdle. That's really the next big hurdle for Madden to really overcome. Like, seriously, you can't keep, it can't keep being spayed and neutered because folk feel a certain way. You do that, you want to get bigger numbers in esports, make it look like how those, when they shown when they shown FIFA and they did the CG trailers, remember when they did the Xbox One presentation and Ignite and all that jazz, and they shown how FIFA was supposed to look from a CG trailer. Even though it's a CG trailer, what was mimicked in that trailer mimicked what happened in the actual game, though. Not in the case with Madden. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I'm saying. FIFA builds their game out to do all that stuff. The jersey pulls, the crowd chants, the people getting tackled and all the moves and everything else, the one-to-one, control and all that. Madden can show whatever it is that they want to show and have these beautiful looking trailers. You got Adrian Peterson running, legs still churning, fighting through 3-4 tackles at once. When has that happened yet in Madden? I have yet to see that, but it was in that next gen trailer and they said that was in game or in the engine or whatever. But the point is, if that's what you're supposed to be mimicking, I want to see that kind of action happen at times. Not all the time, but I need to see that stuff happen. And it's like, it's not there at all. Why not? You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of stuff that we have to see happen in the game if you really want to talk about evolving and going to that next level. You know what I'm saying? And I'll say this. There's one last point I want to say. Then we can keep going here. This is a problem. It's regardless of what level you play on. We always talk about player movement and how huge that is. In the Madden League that they got going on right now, you saw a problem lurk with a linebacker, and he took away an out route and a corner route. He was able to take both routes away with one linebacker. There's no freaking play FIFA. There's no way in the world you can possibly take away two routes of attack with one guy like that. Unless lightning strikes. There's no way you could do that.
I will say this, and this is one thing that we've been campaigning for in the league. When players should have to play in the defensive cam when you're on defense. because you can't do that. And that's another level of skill that people need to develop. Playing in defensive cam when you're on defense. Because you can't do that. You can't see what's behind you. You can't see the entire field.
Right.
Now, can you still move around pretty, fast? Yeah. But you're talking about developing a whole nother level of reading routes and reading plays and all this kind of stuff that you have to do. I'm telling you, we tried to campaign in the league for it to make people not be able to take away 2-3 routes with a linebacker. And it does help. But you have to have everybody on board to do it. But yeah, that's one way to do it. And I'd love to see that come onto the competitive stage since, people want to grab their coconuts and talk about how big and bad they are. Playing the defensive team.
Yeah. But see, I'm sorry, Kia had to correct me there. It was 3 routes he took away with one guy. That's my point, dude. You can't possibly do that. You can't do that in FIFA at all, pretty much, unless the stars perfectly aligned. But that's even a long shot.
Oh, Kia. And to that point, though, the problem with that is you should just play on that one player. Or they'd make the camera, I guess more orienting, but stay on that one player. You're not controlling the offensive line when you're playing on offense. So,
That's true.
Do the thing, make it to where it's somewhat equal. But to me, it's more about on defense, you just can't see how you can on offense. Like the view is the same on defense as it is on offense. That's more what it's about to me in that realm. And being able to see everything the quarterback's seeing. So.
But see, you know what though? Even to that point though, AZ, if you take away the movement capability, then now it's like, dang, I gotta commit. What am I gonna do? Am I gonna commit to covering this one route, or am I just gonna end up trailing because I'm trailing, or get burnt because I tried to cover 2 routes? You know what I'm saying?
That's a good thing though.
Oh no, that is what I'm saying though. Like,
to make a decision. You can't just go out there and hummingbird routes and
man took away a corner route, a swing route. It's like, yo, come on. And made the tackle.
And all the stripped the ball. Making, man, they make a 46 defense cover 5 wide receivers, and it's just
but again,
that's what I'm saying, man.
I'm not mad at them. The game allows it.
But see, and you're right. But see, that's the thing. You're on that stage though. Yeah. And you want your game to blow up, it ain't gonna blow up doing that. It ain't gonna blow up doing stuff like that, because then people gonna look at it, and even though they'll be like, you know what, it may not be as easy as 1, 2, 3 because they make all these adjustments and stuff, but at the same time, it's like you can learn the method to the madness enough to just say, okay, if I devote the time and put the work in, you got kids, 17, 16 to 18 and older in this tournament, like on that grand stage now. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like it's this sacred art that only somebody 30 some odd years old or whatever that's been doing it for umpteen years. Like, everybody doesn't have to be like Problem, you know what I'm saying, in order to be able to do what's being done in this game now. If you spend enough time with it, the game is simple enough, and that's the problem. It's so simple,
big problem,
that they could, and you're going to have 15, 16-year-old kids up there that's just on stage willing and dealing. So there has to be that layer of real challenge to separate, who truly is the elite of the elite. Because I bet you this was FIFA, a lot of them cats would get ate alive. Think about it. If you got all the rules and the penalties in there and you trip somebody up and now you're down 10 players to 11, you do get another red card. Now you got 9 dudes. Man, please. It'd be a whole different world. So that's what I'm saying. And it's got to get to that level.
The funny thing is, Smitty, is you can see even out of those competitive guys, because I always say this, Kia says this a lot, you can see the guys who know how to play.
Yeah.
And you can see the guys who are, and listen, like I said, I don't try to judge, because even when I'm streaming, people are always telling me, oh, so-and-so was what. But sometimes some of them dudes I'll be watching, I'm like, how did he not see that? I feel like I could beat them. With certain guys, like, oh, I could beat that dude because he don't know what he's doing. Now, a guy like Problem, or Skimbo,
Yeah.
you get ate alive. Even in a sim game, I can promise you, in a sim game, Skimbo will bust a lot of people. Because that dude, listen, I've had conversation with him. He knows football. And he knows, like, if the game was sim, he would make the proper adjustment and still will wax a whole lot of dudes because he understands coverages, he understands route combinations, et cetera, et cetera. Same thing.
I don't have no problems with people like that. You know what I mean? Like, I have a problem with the ABBA, BBA, CCA people.
Exactly.
The blood code people.
Right. ABBA, BBA, CCA. Right. My 74 corner is 99 overall. Get out of here with that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And I mean, let's be honest. And as Azure knows this, he probably get a laugh out of it. Just to be fair, it's a little bit of that in our league. And what I'm saying, not to disrespect anybody, that's not where I'm going. But what I'm saying is, there are guys even in our league that they play a sim style, but they know what the problems are in the game. Like they know it's a certain point where, and it's kind of like you can't blame them because it's the game's fault. But if the game was really playing respectfully and your safeties was competent, it would be a whole different ball game.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So,
of course, man. I just want, you know, I gotten flack for saying this, but I want to see sim tourneys. Honestly, I mean, we've had debates about what are the rules around it, and how do you define it. But I'd like to see us, and when I say us, the 67 people watching now, and the 3 on this panel be respected in the tournament of our own. You know, so.
I need to see. I ain't even gonna put myself out there. I need to see I need to see Azure and NY Kia in them tournaments because I promise you.
Even though he left the league, man, we used to have some battles.
They'll make some noise. Kia and AZ, they'll make some noise in the tournament. I can tell you right now.
They'll hurt some people.
They know what they do.
Oh man. You kidding me? As many routes as dudes leave open in them games, man, please. 20, 30-yard strikes. They be leaving them wide open and be checking underneath. I'm like, man, I mean, just wide open. So, yeah. Nah.
Yeah, man. It's funny, too, man. Before we jump to the next topic, I wanted to address what one guy was saying here. I'm trying to find your name, man. And I know I'm all over the place, guys. I'm still going to find SGO's video and link it. I can't find who it was, but one of the guys said that they played Madden 25 and the true step was there in that game. What happened to it? And what I wrote back to him, so the rest of the chat know what I said. It's still there. Like Madden 18 has finally started to turn back towards what 25 was. It ain't 25. But what happened was, plain and simple, me and Smitty have talked about this several times. And 25 came out, and I recall us being in the studio having not a beef, but a heated debate with other game changers because they didn't like that. And we was like, yo, that's real.
Yeah.
That's football. You ain't supposed to. And one guy specifically said, I should be able to turn on a dime when I get to the side.
I was about to bring that up. Yeah.
Come on, man. You can't do that with everybody. That's not football.
No.
So what happened again, like Azure said, to borrow what he said, they started caving. And in 16 or whatever game came out, 15. 15,
yeah.
It got worse. It got really loose in 15. It was almost swerve time again. 16, they kind of had it halfway swerve, halfway true step. 17 was getting back to some type of normalcy. And obviously 18 improved slightly, but it was just a port of 17. But
it baffles me how every year they have it, and then they just mess it up. Like it's almost like it's purposely. Like, we got a good game, y'all. Let's mess it up. Let's mess it up. Yeah, let's loosen this. Let's tinker with this. It's
sometimes it comes from the top, guys. It comes from the top sometimes. Because again, I don't mind sharing this story because it is what it is. I seen it firsthand that EA played this year. I saw it. I'm not gonna say who it was, but I seen somebody in a top position coming down saying this is too hard. It's too many picks. And then we had a meeting at EA Play, giving feedback on the game, and I could see it in Rex's face when he said, I don't know, guys, you know, zones, you know, we might have to. And I was like, what? And he was like, you know, we're already getting pushback. He wasn't talking about the people at EA Play. Let's just be real. Because by now, y'all know Rex tells it like it is, and y'all know his feelings with the battles I seen it, man. And I seen it from the top level guy, 2 of them, matter of fact. They was really concerned about that. And I'm like, yo, I'm sitting there trying to fight Smitty. He's trying, I'm like, dog, they got to learn how to, you know, learn your Smitty remembers this. We were sitting there side by side in the back. And I was like, Smitty, I love how I can't hold on to the ball. I had to literally anticipate the throw to get stuff off.
Oh, yes.
It was beautiful. If I was a half second late, it's going to get picked, swatted, batted down, collision. Like slants, I had to really literally drop back. Like the drop backs, let me blow y'all mind real quick. The actual automatic drop backs was your best friend in that game at EA Play. Let the ball go if he's open. Anticipate the throw. You're going to fit it in between that tight coverage. It was phenomenal.
Man, the defense was way better.
The game still had, you know, other stuff, obviously. But we're just talking about what they presented and how it was playing.
Yeah.
And then look what happens. Y'all hear, shout outs to my guy, I Maverick. Always give Mav the credit. Because we all attacked at the capture event. And Mav did an actual video from the capture event, like when we got back home, saying, man, they messed the zones up. And he opened the door for the rest of us. I was like, hey, appreciate that, man, because now I'm definitely going to say the same thing. Because at first they wanted to kind of keep it a little quiet. So that's what happened. And then we had to wait for the patch and try to get the zones back, and they still ain't where they supposed to be.
Nope. That's why I went on ahead and bought some stock in EA. We'll try to do so. No, for real, because, you know, if I ever hit the lottery, I'm going to buy a whole lot of shares of EA. I'm going to show up in Orlando like I own this mofo. I have a say, and y'all going to stop messing with it. But here is how many shares I own of this company. Stop it. And it's gonna be done. So if you want to do a GoFundMe for me to buy some lottery tickets to buy some shares of EA, just hit me up on Twitter. We can start that because I'm tired of it, dog.
We got to be investors, man.
I think we didn't hit the glass ceiling as far as it goes. This company, dog. We thought the game program was it. Ain't it, dog.
You gotta be.
You gotta slap some bands on the table.
Yeah, we gotta be invested.
Stop playing with this game. Here is my money. I own this company. Stop playing around.
Yes. We gotta be in the investors' room because when you listen to that call, I don't hear nobody asking questions about authenticity. When it comes to Madden, I don't hear it.
Right, yeah.
Keep telling. Is the line going up? Yep. Keep it up. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it.
Great job, people.
You're doing an awesome job. My pockets, thank you. We go to the Hamptons every summer because of y'all. Thank you, EA.
No, I'll say to answer because I know Durand Austin was asking. He was like, "What was difficult at EA Play?" And I mean, the thing is, like, okay, basically, I mean, you know, from what was okay, like how guys saying Mutt, you know, you got to have a certain threshold in order to see guys jump passing lanes and stuff like that. Everybody was jumping passing lanes if your timing was off. Which is what happens in football. And mind you,
defenders.
Yeah, we couldn't see ratings or none. Everybody had question marks everywhere. So there wasn't no ratings, and we only had a handful of teams that we could play with. So, but that was the thing. It was like, if they saw it, they reacted to it. And guys that were exceptional at it, they reacted quicker and reacted better than others. And that's what me, Sim, Shop, we were all sitting at the table like, yo, look at this. Oh, look at this.
Zan.
Yeah, Zan.
Let
Everybody.
me ask,
The Live King, he's here in the chat. He was there. SG.
Yeah.
A lot of people was there. Listen, here's it in a quick, skinny version of it. People like Lights and Zan was saying, yo, all the zones work, man. And they all work. It was like, what you mean? He said, they all work. Now, he was like, there's a couple little things you might can tweak, but curve flats, hard flats, cover for everything was working. This is from competitive style players. And y'all
and all them. They was labbing stuff. There was labbing stuff and they weren't able to execute. Like, it was working.
Yeah.
So
let me ask y'all this question, just to, people in the chat and y'all too. Do you think not having an NCAA game hurts Madden?
No.
Because, if you think about it, NCAA was tailored to be a wide open game.
okay.
Oh, I see where you're
and
going.
Now the NFL is supposedly a wide open game of, quick passes and pass and let your receiver do the rest, or, softer football, as they say, because you can't hit nobody. But, do you think that plays a factor into it as well?
It's possible, man. When you look at it from that specific standpoint, it's possible.
Because when you played NCAA, you could throw the ball all day. You know what I mean? Like, you had a guy, especially if you had a faster guy, he got open against somebody who was Division II college, you'd just be open. And Madden always had tighter windows, but now that there's no NCAA, it seems to me like those windows aren't as tight. So,
that's an interesting point, man. I don't know, man. I mean, you could have a point there. It's funny because this could roll us into the last topic here. I definitely want to give us time for that. And when you talk about sliders and difficulty and things like that, I'll just say a little small piece of it. But if you haven't seen it, guys, and I'm getting the links and stuff up now. I just posted SGO's link. I'm going to put his in the description, and I'm going to grab Czar's as well. But the Czar, for you guys that don't know who that is, Sim Nation guy, they don't play video games, play basketball. That's his coin phrase. He's now a 2K dev. If you don't know who the Czar is, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, this dude has been around forever campaigning sim basketball. Anyway, fast forward to now. He did a recent stream last night in regards to sliders and difficulty settings, and he basically broke down the sliders in NBA 2K. And I'm going to just say a couple quick things here, and then I want to give Smitty and Azure most of the floor. What struck my attention really quick was when he said stuff like, well, first of all, the fact that he's a dev and he makes a 40-minute video explaining the sliders. This is something that we've been trying to get from the Madden team. And I gotta get at them a little bit in this regard. Nobody really seems to be able to break it down the way Czar was breaking it down. I've talked to engineers. I've talked to guys who said, man, they was here before I got here. It's like it's old code. I don't know if it works exactly how the definition is. But what I really want to know, which Czar pointed out, how does it relate to gameplay? How does it affect ratings? Czar was going in detail telling you how if you change this, very good information. A lot of the stuff, like you've heard me say with tendencies, I was putting them on 100. I actually got that from Versus. And I was thinking, oh, that's making guys attack the basket more, making guys, and I'm thinking it's making them give more effort. But what he said is when you turn it up beyond 50, it negates the individual rating of each player. Because basically what you're doing is pushing past the threshold, so everybody is going to be doing the same thing. I was like, He also talked about how you can balance the difficulty with sliders. So like such, if you put it on Hall of Fame, once you lock it in on whatever setting you're in and you start changing stuff, it says custom, but it is locking you into Hall of Fame. And he was saying, you know, if you're finding out that you're having difficulty with this or that, you can adjust this slider this way and push their slider that way, and it brings it back down to earth. What he also said, which is very interesting, same thing I'll tell you guys about all Madden, is you got to adjust some sliders, because he said this is key. Azure is going to love this, because Azure has been the biggest advocate of difficulty translating in a video game. Czar straight up said the game NBA 2K does not translate difficulty in basketball sense. He's like, basically, he's verbatim, he said, I mean, you're going to get more of the cheats and the cheese on all, you know, Hall of Fame, unless you adjust some things to your liking. I thought that was key, because, you know, that's the same thing that Madden runs into the same problem. All Madden is a cheese fest. Unless you know, and when I say cheese, I mean that the computer is going to get the edge. It's basically going to smack you as hard as it can until you figure out a way to defend it. Everything is going to be overpowered. Pass rush. Oh, you ain't getting no pass rush unless you crank it down and things like that. But I thought it was very telling that he explains how, number one, their translation of difficulty is still not from a basketball standpoint, meaning more intelligent, more strategic. It's basically helping the dice roll and allowing the percentage of, you know, the computer to have more influence. Also, there's particular slider settings that he shows you, and I'm going to put the link in here, guys. I want y'all to check it out when you get a chance. He explained how when you change like inside shot or three-point shot, the success rate changes the probability of your base percentage of making a shot. So he was saying, if you're somebody who's mastered the timing, like say you've mastered the shot meter, then you might want to turn down the three-point success rate, because all of that ties into it. He also said same thing with, depending on the difficulty setting, it's going to shrink that window. So you would want to change, you know, if you're on Hall of Fame, excuse me, you might want to turn it up a little bit. I mean, it's so much information. But the last thing I wanted to say here, guys, is it just goes to show how, number one, these things need to be explained to the public. And number two, Madden needs more sliders. Everybody has more of a robust system. Like just using NBA 2K as an example, and NHL is like the mega example. Because NHL, I always use this example. You can adjust the amount of physics that plays into a certain situation. That's crazy. And in NBA 2K, Czar also explains what, you know, the layup, contact defense on release or on gather, what all of that means. I mean, he did a great job explaining that stuff. And it just goes to show, man, that you can allow us to customize the game the way we want it. Build that fundamental game and then allow us to customize the experience. And he also said, I'm sorry, one more thing. What I tell you guys all the time, everybody that keeps telling me, use my slider set. It's the best one ever. Sliders are interpretation. Exactly what Czar said. There's no right and wrong answer. He even said, hey, if you can have a good time on pro in our game, play on pro and then adjust your sliders accordingly. He said that the difficulty level is a facade. Everybody feels like they the man if they play on Hall of Fame, or they the man if they play on All Madden. That's like an ego type of thing. The key is getting the best experience possible, and it was just good to hear him break stuff down like that. But let me sit back, man, and throw it to Smitty first. I know you said you had a chance to see a little bit of that, man, but what was your initial thoughts on what he was saying, and, you know, the fact that you think Madden definitely needs to expand not only on what they have, but being able to explain to us what they do?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I spoke about it in the past about NHL sliders and how they really need to expand that in Madden because of how far the well goes as far as how much you can adjust in that game. But the thing is, the sliders are, the sliders in NHL are very self-explanatory as far as what they do. In 2K, not necessarily, until Czar did that breakdown. He basically laid it all out and broke down what each facet, you know, means. And there were some things, some of those sliders that I thought didn't really matter, especially if you're a user. So I didn't think it mattered at all. But I'm like, oh, really? Like, if you don't want as many contact 2-man animations to happen, turn this slider down. Oh, snap.
That was huge.
Well, let me turn that to 0. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a big deal. Yeah. Hey, ball tangibility. You want the ball to be going buck? Yep, virtually. Let me put that to like 5 or 10. You know what I mean? Like, that's the stuff I'm talking about, is that I didn't know. And it's because of how they're labeled as ball, the ball tangibility slider, or what was it? The player contact. It's not like it's simply labeled as player collision, and it has an explanation underneath that says this, reduces the frequency of 2-man animations in the paint on a jump shot or whatever. If I knew that stuff, then I'm gonna tweak this, I'm gonna adjust that, adjust this, adjust that. That's the kind of stuff that I like to see, because now I'm gonna look at the video again, and I'm gonna go through the sliders, and I'm gonna start tweaking and adjusting, and then go into scrimmage and test the stuff out and be like, bet this is what I want to run with. This is exactly what I'm gonna do. But I like that. But when we look at Madden, and like we said, Sim and I, AZ, we've been down to the studio and we've asked, and it's like, we don't know. There isn't a big time explanation that really breaks it down for us and says like, yo, this is what this does. This is what this slider here, this one tackling slider affects all these aspects. Oh, really? Because remember, they had a few different sliders before, but now they just have one. So it's like, okay, because you had, I think it was you had one for the defensive line effectiveness, and then you have one for tackles. So now to just put it all in one, it's like, okay, well, what does that truly comprise of? And that's why we need to see that separation be made, but it also needs to be broken down like what Czar did. We need to see a stream or even a video at some point. Go online in your spare time and just tell it. This is what these sliders do. Boom, 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 boom. This is what this means when you put it high or low. The higher you put it, this is what it does. If you put it too far low, then the game's going to play unrealistically, and you're going to need to adjust. Like, what I'm saying? That's the stuff. Czar said that all throughout the stream. You can do this. We keep it in the middle, but if you mess with this, this is going to throw things off. The game, it may be game breaking, but hey, if you're cool with it, go ahead and do it. And that's the point. So that's the main point right there. Like, I like what he broke down. Yes, no doubt. I definitely want to see that stuff happen with Madden, going forward at some point. I don't know what they would need to do to necessarily get to that point, but even with that, at least break down what your sliders mean. What kind of impacts do they have? You know what I'm saying? And that's the other thing too I can appreciate, is that they said they still gave props to not props to, but still pointed out, hey man, Hall of Fame is still a difficulty thing we're trying to tackle. Just like, if you watch the streams that Rex does from time to time, he made that exact same point about playing on all Madden. He's like, yeah, that's still that difficulty. That's still a machine we got to handle right there. We still don't have that fully figured out yet. That's why he recommends to play on All Pro. But like what we've said over the years, it's not all about playing on the highest difficulty. Don't mean jack. If you get the best experience on a lower difficulty level and you just tweak the sliders the way you need to, you good. Do what you need to do and you good, man.
That's what I said, man. That's that coconut grab again.
Yeah. I'll throw it to AZ, man. Go ahead, man.
AZ, I don't know if you had a chance to see the video, man, but I know you could get your general thoughts on.
Just the gist of probably what he was saying, and it's something that needs to be done. from EA side, like more sliders, detail the ratings. We also know that there's a ratings Bible that they use at EA. We just it hadn't been released to the public, but we know that one exists. Why not put that out there? I mean, what harm are you doing?
They gave me an answer for that one time. That I think.
I mean, I know.
I think it's some bull, but the answer, I didn't really like that answer. But
if we talking about the same thing, then I mean, hey, it is what it is. But you can still put it out there. You know what I mean?
Because basically what they said ain't true. I don't see no whole lot of change.
Yeah.
They claim, guys, we gonna just say it. Like we gonna push the limit. You know, we ain't going too far because it ain't like we telling you specifically. But basically what they were telling us was the ratings and things change a lot. So it might not always be the same formulas. And I'm like, I don't know about that. When have we seen ratings change? I mean, maybe they are doing stuff on the back end, but make it a yearly thing then. Just like they did that one year, it was Madden 25, I think, when they put out the little thing for MUT saying what each rating do. There you go.
And I always say that once you start editing players too much or upgrading them in CFM, you start to mess them up. Like you got a guy, he plays with the cards in SSR, but he has like 99 power move, 99 finesse move, D lineman. Can't get off a block to save his life. Can't do no pass rush moves. Now, if he was at 93, 92, he'd probably be a beast. Because as we've stated before, you start to mess with them formulas and it gets off a little bit. But to that point, I just like to see more traits, man. I want to see more traits in the game. One thing that 2K's game always has is a lot of personality. Even if it starts to become repetitive at some point. But to me, if you get a system out there and then build on it, you can be more successful. But I mean, if you think back to, I hate to always go back to it, but if you think about All Pro Football 2K, if you created a speed burner, speed receiver, he didn't play the same as a possession receiver.
Right.
And Madden, all that is speed, really. Because I have some guys on my team who have like 73 catching traffic, but they never drop a pass. On the other hand, I have a guy like Corey Davis who'll have like 93 catching traffic, and he drops catches in traffic. And that's the kind of stuff to me that's frustrating. So to me, if my lower rated receiver is on a hot streak, or is he playing well because he's had a good string of games, I need to know that information. You know what I mean? Like they got rid of the hot and cold streaks. They could bring that back. But I want to see more traits. When you think about football, they talk about the ability of a player. They don't say, well, this guy has 99 finesse move. He gets off the line right here. No, like look how he uses his hands or his technique. And I just want to see that replicated, in our game. And I know you have to have numbers in there to quantify and make the game roll, but more traits, man, more abilities, traits, flesh out that system, player roles, player-specific animations. Just go all the way down that rabbit hole right there, because then you start giving the illusion, like 2K does, of having an actual player. And that's one of the things that 2K does exceptionally well, is players play differently because of the library of animations that exist in that player tree. And that's one thing that I'd like to see them flesh out as well. As far, and to go back to topic, fix the sliders, like the ones that are backwards, fix them. Like, you got bless you.
Thank you.
You got sliders in the game that are backwards that I don't even think people know. That if you the closer you get to 100 makes a difference, and the closer you get to 0 makes a difference on another slider. Like, you got to fix that kind of stuff. So.
And why can't they tell us that? That's my biggest problem. I've asked people that after I was like, "Yo, is any truth to this?" And nobody can. Even if it's in house, just tell me. Like, yeah, man, it's real. They don't even know. They give you the regular. No, it should be based on what it's. No, man. There's no way that many people in the slider community. I mean, I'm talking about the veterans, the OS guys. There's no way all of them come to a lot of the same conclusion if there's no truth there, no smoke there. Come on, man. Fix that stuff. Or at least let us know what is that the truth? What does it mean? And if it is the truth, fix it. Because people say this has been like this for years. Not good. Not good, man. But yeah, AZ, man, you have anything else on that?
Nah, I mean, that was pretty much my spiel, man. I'm waiting for this game to be what it's been promised to be. And not only that, to be what we know it can be and have seen it be either in the past or at community days, EA play. I'm waiting for them to stand firm and stand strong when the game comes out and it stands on fundamentals and principles and has a deep franchise mode that everybody can sink their teeth into, to where they stand up and say, you know what, 2K took a shot at us last year, and this is what we got for you. Bam. And just roll it out and let their coconuts hang. Let your coconuts hang as a company, EA. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's what it's about, 2K called you out. They're not even in football.
Oh, man.
They're saying we giving y'all a whooping and we not even in football. So.
And they're presser, too.
Yeah. I mean, you know, hey, that's a little
love it.
smack talk between, you know, two companies who are dominating their respective realms. So I'd like to see them, EA, fire back through not words but actions and actually deliver what we've been asking for a long time. So.
Yeah, man, it's very simple, man. It can be done. You know, like shout outs to Showtime here. You know, I see comments like that all the time that, you know, EA lies to us. EA doesn't want to do this. EA doesn't want to do that. Man, it ain't got nothing to do with none of that, because we've said it a million times. EA has a lot of games that we always say are great. You know, we talked about UFC 3. We talk about FIFA. We talk, you know, it ain't got nothing to do with that, man. It comes down to what we say every week, and I seem like we always have to remind folks, is basically the priority when it comes to Madden. It's whatever is deemed priority by the higher-ups. The devs do what they can with the time they had. I mean, again, just to reflect back to EA Play, Rex couldn't have said it more. He couldn't have said it more clear than what he did. He literally said, I mean, hey, well, you know, marketing and stuff, they wanted to focus on long shot this year and, you know, allocate resources to help NBA Live get off the ground. He told you exactly what the deal was. So, I don't know. I mean, because to me, when I see comments like that, it's like it always seems to happen later on in the cycle, like Azure says. You know, they might dial something back, but I can't necessarily say that I felt lied to since I've been there. Because everything that we've talked about, like a lot of stuff that's been put in there is stuff that we hand delivered. I'm not saying we were the only reason. And a lot of stuff that will be coming is stuff that we are hand delivering. But at the same time, where I'm upset and, you know, where I'm definitely not happy is like Azure said earlier. I feel the same way, man. Madden 19, if I don't see no significant CFM changes, I'm like, man, whatever. Like, you might not even hear me talk about it no more. They're going to just have to surprise me one year. That's where I feel like disrespected, not lied to. I feel like we're just not getting that leap in CFM and gameplay to me is right there for the taking. As much as y'all might not want to believe that, it's right there. It ain't a whole lot they got to. It's really a lot of now flushing out what you already had. That's it. Oh, man. Shouts out to Doug Thomas, man. Another donation. You guys are too much, man. We appreciate it every time you guys come through and drop a donation. So, guys, show your love to Doug Thomas. Antoine Myers already came in earlier, Smitty, and donated another $20. I mean, that dude, I don't know. He gonna in a minute, he gonna be able to put it on his taxes. But yeah, man, that's what it is right there. You know, that's just our mentality. Because listen, if any of us felt like we were being lied to, we wouldn't be doing this. We know what's happening in there, but what Azure is saying is we are reaching the brink. Like, we're getting to the point where, like, come on, man. Like, come on now. We feel like it's a stalemate right now. We're a little stagnant now. Something need to happen here in 19. Some of that stuff that I know was supposed to be in 18 better be in 19. CFM better get some type of something, like some real changes. And I ain't talking about one thing. I need to see some significant, like Azure said, I need to see your progression track. Where you trying to take it? So that's it, man. We ain't really got nothing else to say. I wanted to wrap up right at 10, but I want to give Smitty, man, if you can knock it out in about 5 minutes or so, I definitely want to hear your take, man, on the Cavs, man, real quick. All this trade talk they got going. Well, not talk. All these
trades that happen.
What's your thoughts on it, man?
You know what? I don't think the Cavs are championship contenders. Definitely not championship contenders. I don't know if they would still come out. I don't think they're coming out the East, even with that team. I mean, they could get Kevin Love back, but this is a desperate reaching attempt to try and just slap something together because what you originally intended didn't work. See, what basically is happening here is LeBron has to take on what he ran away from in 2009, which is adversity, and actually having to play through it. Now he's got to play through it at this later stage in his career. See, we saw him play through adversity in the finals a few years back when Kyrie and Kevin Love got hurt, you know, and you saw him put up those ridiculous stats. But he wasn't carrying the team on his back like that for an entire season. And I mean, he still won't, not with these guys. Like Jordan Clarkson is a great scorer. Rodney Hood is a solid scorer as well. You know, Kevin Love, once he comes back, you know, so it's like you got some good guys here, but to do all this mixing up, you know what I'm saying? Like doing all this mixing up for their team, that ain't really going to do anything for them, man. And I mean, I will say this. I like the move New York made for Moutier. It just sucks that Porzingis is out now with, I forgot what kind of injury he had, but I think he may be done for the year now. I'm not sure. But he had like a leg injury or something like that. So it's like, you know, that was big for him. But you know, as far as what they got, yeah, I don't know. Even Detroit, I mean, look, Detroit, we did a little something. But the funny thing here about Detroit, we basically, honestly, the way some of the fans act here, man, we would have fire sold the entire team. We would have got rid of Drummond, Bullet, Ish. We would have got rid of everybody except Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris and Luke Kennard, basically. The way people talk about these guys and everything. So now it's like we get extremely old Jameer Nelson. We get
what?
Who else?
Still playing?
Yes,
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
wow.
He was on the Bulls. He was on the Bulls, chilling on the bench. So yeah, we got Jameer Nelson. We traded the two guys that came with Blake Griffin. We traded one dude to Chicago to get Nelson, and then we did a trade with the Grizzlies for like one of their forwards. So the other guy, I forgot my man's name who we got, but we did that, and I think we traded a draft pick away or whatever. Like between us and Chicago, we swapped picks for 2020, second-round picks or something like that. So it's like they made some okay moves, but I like the way the Pistons are playing. And I mean, like, I will say this. Blake Griffin,
man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Blake, with them, Stanley Johnson stepping up and balling. So it's like, yo, if these dudes keep balling the way they balling, you know, maybe when Reggie Jackson comes back, if he play right and we can get a systematic thing going on here, we can make a strong run to come up in some positions in the playoffs and possibly be a top 4 seed. And who knows? We could possibly bounce out Cleveland. Cleveland ain't that squad. Don't get it twisted. LeBron's there, yes, but this ain't the same team. Okay? He ain't got those 3 superstars no more. And these dudes are just coming. Now, I don't know about, I don't know. There ain't enough time to really talk about it, but I'll just say that Cleveland is not a championship contender. Can they make it to the finals? Yes, they can. Do I think they will? I don't think so. Barring a serious injury from Boston, I don't think they're going to make it. I don't think they're going that far. And I mean, yeah, Golden State would mop the floor with whoever Cleveland got. They mop the floor with them. They're not a threat. So they're done. And I don't think, I mean, Cleveland, LeBron said he's not waiving his no trade clause, but I mean, we'll see, we'll see what happens, what unfolds with that. He's saying he's down for the long haul in Cleveland. We'll see. Because one thing we see when LeBron
season, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right. When adversity jumps in the path, he ain't with that. He ain't really with that, especially since he's been in the lap of luxury for the past 8 years, pretty much. Miami Heat, 3 superstars, finals all the time, and then he goes back to Cleveland, Kyrie, Kevin Love. He doesn't want to take on that adversity. I got to actually carry the team and lead them and take them there. He doesn't really have to do that because he had other players that he could really fall on if need be. That's why he's able to keep himself up the way he is. He's got everybody else to carry the burden that he would have had to shoulder if he truly had to lead the team. Now he has to do that to an extent because Rodney Hood and Clarkson, even Larry Nance, it's not like they're slouches. They're good players. They're good talents. So we'll see what happens, though.
Yeah, man. I think maybe what we'll do, and you guys remind us, I'm going to make a note of it. Next week, it'll be roughly a week. Everybody's been traded. Let's pick this conversation back up next week and just see how the teams are looking after a couple games. Kind of interested to see what's going to happen with the Lakers, man. Well, it's going to be interesting, though, because they already said, Walton already said he expects to play Ball and Isaiah. But to me, the problem in Cleveland was the fact that he didn't have the ball in his hands as much. So are they going to take the ball out of Lonzo Ball's hand, pun intended?
Yeah.
Or, so we'll see. I actually I like Jordan Clarkson. I've always been kind of high on him. I think he has potential. And I really like the effort play from Larry Nance Jr.
Yes.
So maybe they might give a little. They might get a little better, but I don't know. We'll see, man. But all right, guys, it's that time, man. I gotta go do family time now. So we're gonna get up off of here for now. This was a great show, man. Was definitely happy to have AzureEffect with us tonight. Y'all know he out there teaching the youth, man. So whenever he has time to make it to the show, we appreciate it. But other than that, oh man, hold on real quick.
Bow tie.
I gotta say one thing about a teacher. Man, I heard I can't remember where this dude was from, but let me tell y'all how messed up this world is. I'm gonna just say this and we're gonna end the show. So there's this guy that gets arrested, a male teacher. This guy was offering favors on grades and food in exchange for penis pictures, man.
Oh, that's terrible.
Dog, I lie to you not. Matter of fact, if you guys follow Power 105, the Breakfast Club, Charlamagne gave him Donkey of the Day. Go listen to it. what is this world coming to, man? I mean, the sexual assault and stuff is real, but this is a 39-year-old teacher that's trying to get 16-year-old, whatever, however old these boys are, trying to get him to send them like penis pictures. Like, what is going on, man? And I know that it just made me think about it, referencing, and this had nothing to do with Azure. Don't get that twisted.
Oh no, not.
But I'm just saying, to bring it back home, man. We glad to have guys like Azure out there teaching the youth, because if I know him like I know him, he ain't just teaching them about school.
Oh,
he gets a chance. He puts some wisdom on them too. So that's
life lesson every day.
There you go.
Every chance to get.
When we have it, the opportunity for him to be here with us, cool. But other than that, handle that. Don't even worry about this stuff.
Yeah.
But all right, man, that's gonna do it. Y'all be easy. We catch y'all next week. And I wish I was telling y'all to enjoy some football this weekend, but honestly, that ain't happening.
XFL, I'm telling you. That's your window of opportunity, right?
Yep. But all right, man, we out of here. Y'all be easy, man.
Peace.
All right, peace.